everyone, today I'm going to do a video about all the different ways that I have my semi-hydro plants set up. I have some pretty weird ways. I'm going to start with what's normal, and in my first semi-hydro video, I will link it at the top. I showed this as an example. This is my Ficus Audrey, and I just have it in a IKEA cash pot, so a pot that doesn't have any drainage holes. I have it in a nursery pot. Well, this actually is an orchid pot. And the reason why I even have an orchid pot is because my husband had one plant and it was a Venus flytrap, and he forgot about his one plant, so he killed it, and then I used it for this. So this is the only pot that I have like this. The rest of them I just use the normal nursery pot that my plant came with. So in here I have the water nutrient reservoir, and that's it with that. And I have the tape on both sides like this so I can easily pull it out of the pot. Most of my plants are set up like this, where it has a normal nursery pot, so the one that the plant came with, and then it's in a cash pot, all different types of cash pots. Next, I'll talk about my donkey tail succulent. So I usually have this on my wire grid wall, just hanging up there, and this little guy has not really grown at all, I don't think. Or maybe I just haven't noticed. It's in this little 2-inch terracotta pot. It's a laundry detergent cup, and this is the thing holding the water reservoir. I wouldn't necessarily recommend terracotta as your pot. It can wick it up, but it also dries out really fast, so that might be why it's not really growing, but at least he's not dead. That goes to show you can really use anything as long as it holds water. Next, we'll go with my silver sword philodendron, and I've showed this setup before too. This is a crazy plant guy pot that I got from Sharina's giveaway, and this has a tiny little drainage hole at the bottom, and I covered it with medical tape. Not that that really will do anything. This is the nursery pot that it came with. This is a sandwich bag that I have in here, and that is what's holding my water reservoir. I am not necessarily recommending that everyone do that. I was just using what I have and it seems to work. This guy is growing just fine, so I haven't noticed anything different with the plants that I do this for and then my normal setup. I'll touch on this real quick. So when I propagate something, if I propagate it in leca, for my Monstera deliciosa, I propagate it in a mason jar like this. I know this is just water because I was being lazy. I have the leca balls at the bottom. I'll put the plant in and then more at the top, and then it's easier to use a clear-ish container, clear or like something like an amber glass bottle where you can still see it, and then have the water level at 1/3. I would only do that for propagation because if you need to flush your pots every 2 weeks, it's just more difficult, and you'd have to unpot everything every 2 weeks if you do it that way. Unless there's another method that you can think of where you don't actually have to unpot it every single time, or if you don't mind unpotting it, then go ahead and do that. But that's the only reason why I wouldn't leave it in a closed cup like this with just a leca ball straight in there with the water. But for propagation, I would totally do that. What I've been doing recently is basically chopping the plant and just propagating it right back in it. So this is my Cebu Blue. It was kind of trailing at one point. Now it's back to barely trailing, but I would just chop it where the nodes are and then stick it back in the pot with the rest of the rooted plant, and it's been growing just fine for me, so I tend to do that a lot. This is a nursery pot that it came with, and I am just using this shallow bowl that I thrifted as a saucer, and there is the water in there. And you can really use any type of saucer. So I have temporarily used a takeout container as the saucer. I do prefer using a cash pot though, because I think it looks more aesthetic. And I am gonna show you this last method. So this is my fiddle leaf fig right behind me, and it is in a basket. I'll show you right here. And inside is the nursery pot that it came with, and I'm gonna lift it up here. So my setup for this one is, it's a deep clear saucer that I got from Home Depot, and that's what holds the water reservoir, because this nursery pot obviously has drainage holes, and then the reason why I have the trash bag lining it is just so I don't get water everywhere. So basically what I'm saying is that you can be very creative with the way that you have your semi-hydro setup. I get asked a lot about cash pots and nursery pots, which ones I recommend, but these are all the methods that I use, and you can figure out some for yourself. It doesn't really matter what you use as long as it holds the water reservoir. Another thing I want to mention is Kay, so In Rooted Love and I are going to do a live Q&A on Instagram. It's gonna be on her Instagram, and then I'm gonna join that one. So it's gonna be on Sunday, April 7th. It's gonna be 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tune in and you can ask any questions that you have about semi-hydro, and we'll do our best to answer them. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye!